Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh and a very good morning. My name is Hairul Azwan. So today I'm going to share about the industrial sensor. This is the introduction. With the fast-paced industrial world looking for ways to manufacture products better, faster, and more economically, it is important to be knowledgeable of sensor technologies. So today we are going to discuss the fundamental understanding and the working knowledge of different sensor technologies. So we will achieve this through the study of sensor technologies, terminology explanations, lab exercises, and application example. The first, what is a sensor? Sensor is a device that responds to a physical stimulus and transmits a resulting impulse. This is the types of sensor: proximity sensor, photoelectric sensor, and miscellaneous. Proximity sensor such as inductive and capacitive, while for the photoelectric sensor can be true beam, retroreflective, diffuse reflective, fiber optics, color mark, specialized, and others may be as ultrasensor, resensor, variable reluctance, laser specialist sensor, so many more. The first one, we are looking for proximity sensors. These proximity sensors are widely used in general industrial automation, such as in conveyor lines, in order to counting, to jam detection, etc., or machine tools such as safety interlock sequencing. This proximity sensor usually digital on and off sensor, detecting the presence or absence of an object. And this sensor consisting of sensor head, optical, either optical, inductive or capacitive, detector circuit, amplifier, output circuit. And this proximity sensor give a switching signal when an object passes at a close distance to it or within a rated sensing distance. There's some distance near to this sensor. There are several ways of producing a switching signal, including magnetic field, ultrasonic sensor, reflecting, high frequency inductive reference, or high frequency capacitive interference. This is the proximity sensor, either inductive or capacitive. Inductive proximity sensor is a type of moving object passing through a high frequency magnetic field produced by a sensor. It will change the circuit inductance. This produces a change in circuit current, which propagates a relay to produce a switching signal. This type is effective only for sensing metal objects. For example, for the counting teeth in gear, we are using inductive proximity sensor to detect the teeth in the gears. We can know the numbers, the gears. And this is the allometric field. This is inductive materials, and this is the sensor. As I mentioned before, the sensor usually consisting of oscillator, trigger, and output amplifier. So when the sensor sense a conductive materials, so it will detect the electromagnetic fields by high frequency, and then we can know the signal in such a way that sometimes the signal is very low, so we need to isolate or trigger, and then we can give the output to other devices. The first one, this is the basic construction and circuit makeup. The first target, we assuming that we detecting some component, and this is the sensor. So sensor, as mentioned before, it creates a inductive electromagnetic field. So when the target approaching the sensor, so it will create the oscillator and detector as well as the switching output. The first one is the sensor head. The front end of the sensor consists of a wire-wound ferrite iron core, for example. This is physical parts of its sensor that produce the actual sensor field. And this oscillator circuit oscillate and give a power and monitored by a detector circuit for resulting detection. So, for example, from the moving object from left to right. So, the sensor will moving object at the top and amplitude of oscillation at the bottom. So, the amplitude, it creates the oscillating signal and switching the on. And then if the moving object is disappear in the center, so the signal will be turned off. On the other hand, the signal will be turning on from both left and right hand side. So in such case, we can see a different voltage level in the detection circuit, on and off. So it can be represented in digital, off and off, on and off, like a figure below. And this is the output circuit. So the output circuit handles the actual switching and control of the output. This is the type of both ends of the sensor, either shielded and unshielded. Shielded means, shielded and shielded are two terms used to describe this sensor. The basic difference in these two types arrive from their mechanical construction. We can easily look into this mechanical construction. Either they are shielded or unshielded. Shielded means there's no shield from the sensor, only this part on the outer part. On the other hand, this is unshielded, the sensor can sense. So the shielding construction such as like this. Okay, this is the only one way towards outer side, but for the right hand side of the unshielded sensor, it may separate the signal from top and to the left and right to the side. In general, these two construction styles yield slightly different sensing performance. In summary, the unshielded style will provide approximately twice the sensing distance, with an inherent drawback of specific mounting and installation requirements. For example, this is shielded and unshielded. So, as I mentioned before, okay, in summary, there are depends on the distance. For example, the shielded can reach up to 10 millimeters of sensor distance. On the other hand, for the unshielded, may reach up to 18 millimeters with the same size of sensor, 30 millimeter in diameter. Okay, next is a target consideration. What the type, the target, the materials that we want to sense. The first one is the target characteristic, composition, size and thickness and shape. So we need to know the speed of target so that we can know the distance, even though the distance is the nearest distance. Mungkin oleh kerana dia dekat, tapi oleh kerana target tersebut laju, the speed is very high, so we can't detect the target. And target spacing or interval, the target interval between one target to another, one material to another, if they are very close or attached together from one target to another, so quite difficult to this sensor to identify the interval. and the frequency response of the sensor. It also depends on the accuracy and the characteristic of the sensor itself. And we have to know to choose the right inductive sensor. For example, the bad target too small for sensor. For example, if you use a bigger sensor, but we need to, the target is too small, it's insufficient. So we have to choose the right sensor so that it must be good. Target and sensor size is comparable. This is the method of detection configuration, either shielded and unshielded. So as I mentioned before, the construction is depends on the cylindrical part, either closed or disposed by unshielded, and the advantage and disadvantage. So the mechanical, for example, it designed by same iron, mild steel, stainless steel, either on non-ferrous, brass, copper, aluminum metals. But the advantage by unshielded is a longer distance. And this is some application by using a sensing metal lid on container. So the sensor are used to detect a metal container. And for example, for this one is a uncup. There is no cup here, so we need to identify. And this is the sensor wiring. So sensor wiring, as you study before, for the transistor, for example, they are either PNP or NPN. So it also depends on the common, either they are using a common negative as shown here, common negative, or common positive. The common is negative here, as you can see, and this is common positive on the right hand side. The sensing syncing sensor, for example, this one is your controller, PLC or controller. So basically your sensor consisting of two signal, positive, either they are active low or active high, and your signal. Okay, so far any question? If you have any question, just leave your comment. And usually for the lab exercise, I give you inductive proximity sensor to test its sensitivity on the various metal object. We can use a paper from your notepad, and then sensing. Try to sense your sensor to a number of variety of object. Next one is a capacitive proximity sensor. As the name implies, the capacitive using electrical field produced by sensor, just electrical field. Compared to inductive you're using a electromagnetic. But for the capacitive, they are using a electrical field. So capacitive can use to produce a switching signal and reliable in the detection of metallic or non-metallic object. A capacitive proximity sensor is similar to an inductive sensor in that it has an oscillator, detector, and output scheme. It differs in that it uses a plate-shaped electrode instead of a wire-wound core. In operation, it forms an electronic capacitive form between these two sensors, two parallel plates. In practice, the supply line is in effect to the ground. Okay, this is the architecture of the proximity sensor capacitive. It can be a metallic or non-metallic object, same as before the inductive sensor, but they are using this capacitive sensor using electrical fields. Okay, this is a target object. They are using a charge, either positive or negative charges. And if, for example, before detecting an object, positive charge and negative charge. This is electrical field. When the object approaching to the sensor, they are changing in positive, negative, and positive, negative. So they are changing the electrode. So it influences the increase of electrostatic capacitance of the electrode. So we can know the 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 output by detecting the oscillator circuit. This is a capacitive sensing range. It can affect the sensor setting distance. So capacitive, this capacitive sensor can detect either metal or non-metal. The measure of unit is the constant is the ability of material to concentrate the electrical flux. For example, the electric constant of air or vacuum is 1, since it is the reference. So usually we refer to these references in air or in a vacuum. 1. Okay, this is the coefficient for different materials with a different constant. For example, air, the constant is a 1, near to 1. And for example, for the glass, 3.7 to 10, depends on the type of glasses. For the marble, for the paper, you are using a paper to write your notes. So the paper constant is about 1.6 to 2.6, for example. Okay. However, by using this capacitive sensor, there are mutual interference when these sensors are close to each other. However, okay, this is the method of detection. The configuration requires clearance around sensing ends to prevent false signal from surrounding. Usually, we put a capacitive sensor must have some clearance, some distance. And this the advantage of this sensor is can detect plastic, glass, liquids, leather, and some of the either metal or non-metal. However, the disadvantage is sensor is not protected from accidental impact damage, so it's easy to break. For example, we use in the reservoir to detect a water level, water limit. So we are using a capacitive sensor both at the higher level and lower level. So when the water fill up to this tank, this sensor can detect the water level either in a low level or high level. And in the lab exercise, usually I can provide a proximity sensor, capacitive proximity sensor to detect the fluid or liquid. However, for this kind of for this new norm environment, so we can't do that. But if you have a sensor in your home, you may test. Okay, next one is a photoelectric sensor. This is the variation, either true beam, retroreflective, diffuse reflective, fiber optics, color mark, and specialized. Okay, this is photoelectric sensor. They are using photo. Photo is the light. Okay, this is true beam sensor, for example. This true beam sensor consisting of these two sensor, left and right. Okay, this is principle. The principle is there are two unit of sensor. One act as a receiver and another one is act as a emitter. So true beam sensor consists of two parts. Emitter is the light source to transmit the light, and receiver to detect sensor to detect a light. A beam of light links the two, establishing a sensing area. This is a sensing area. And for example, when the target to be detected pass through the beam, it will break the link between this emitter and receiver. So when this occurs, the object has been sensed. So this is very simple. And this is the principle of operation. For example, there are light emitting elements. So on your right, light emitting emitter. This is for detector. So this, when the object is passing through, and it will the light will not detected by this detector. So means the object is present. Okay. Okay, as the method of operation is by breaking the beam, the sensor is not affected by the target color, texture, or glossiness. However, the size of the object must be taken into consideration. Some true beam sensors have sensitivity adjustments to allow different size to be detected. For example, in order to detect the different object, so we can use this kind of sensor. For example, they have several types mode of operation. For example, the light on. So the output of the sensor operates when the beam is uninterrupted. So for example, this one is a on. So you can see this one is have a red indicator on, and then when this sensor, the light is not passing through, so this should be in off position. And then this is the type or the technique how to install the sensor. Depends on the sensing distance, alignment, and mutual interference, as I mentioned before. So for example, for the retroreflective mirror, some of the sensor there has only one unit, but emitter and receiver in one sensor. So they are using retroreflective sensor. So emit and receive. So by using only one sensor. So unlike the true beam sensor, the previous one is a true beam sensor, but this one, the retroreflective sensor, has the emitter and receiver in the one body. It has a one body. The light beam is established by the use of a reflector. So dia kena ada reflector to reflect, untuk pantulkan cahaya. So the returning light from the transmitter back to the receiver. So bila receiver signal ada send signal, so maksudnya objek tak ada. So kalau receiver dia tak menerima sebarang information daripada light, daripada retro reflective materials, so maksudnya ada objek. This is the retroreflective, for example. So we have one object, rugby for the object, so moving. So when the receiver didn't receive any signal from the emitter, so means the object is present. We can also detect in breaking the beam, same as before. So it's not affected by the object color or shape. Just like the true beam, the sensor can operate in light on and dark on mode. So they use only one sensor. However, it may has a possible problem, such as even though color and shape do not affect this sensor type, the sheen or glossiness of the item may have an adverse effect. So walaupun kita tak tengok dia punya color and shape, tetapi dia punya kecerahan, dia punya glossiness of the item may affect the detection, either extremely shiny or highly reflective. Depends. Even though by using a color, for example, the black color either they are shiny color or matte color. In this case, object will pass by undetected. Sometimes kita punya detector pun tak boleh detect. As a commonly found issue, there is solution for this application. Polarized retroreflective. They are using a polarized. Polarized, the signal is not transmitting in the straight line, but it emits in polarized, in zigzag mode. It also has this mirror reflective emitter and receiver. So this is the operation. Instead of thinking of light as a one uniform beam, it can be split into two components that make up the beam. These components are horizontal and vertical. It can be combination. Okay, for example, this polarized retro-reflective sensor uh, has been adjusted for 90-degree, either horizontal and vertical. So compare with the previous normal true beam sensor, retro reflective sensor. So it has we can change the horizontal and vertical information. The signal transmit from emitter and received by receiver. For example, we can detect a shiny object by using this sensor. Okay, however, we can't perform these lab exercises. Okay, you may find my slide. Okay, another one is a diffuse reflective sensor. It incorporates the emitter and the receiver in the same body, much like a retro-reflective sensor. So unlike the retro-reflective sensor, there is no separate reflector in use to return light back to the receiver. So dalam kes ni dia tak ada reflective. Dia akan detect. This configuration has the advantage one piece wiring and no reflector. Not required a reflector. This is especially useful in those applications where there may be access to only one side or mounting problem exists. However, in some applications, the background behind the object being sensed can be adverse effect on the sensor's ability to detect the object. So dalam kes ni ada juga background, so it may confuse the sensor, the ability to detect an object. Again, this is the lab exercise for diffuse retroreflective sensor. So in lab activity, you may sense the distance for different materials and different shininess of the color of the materials, white, matte and glossy color. And okay, for your information, if all these sensors work on the principle of light, then why does the ambient light affect the sensor? Anyone can answer? Okay. It causes modulation. Modulation and LED means turning in, on and off at a different frequency. This is generally done at high frequency with short bursts of voltage. By applying power in this manner, the circuit is able to generate a very high intensity light at a certain spectrum. Because the LED is not an continuously, it does not suffer from the adverse effect of heat. This is the modulation of the sensor of the light. And for example, this is a comparison chart in the dark or shiny opaque. True beam is good, but for the retroreflective, good and poor, and diffuse, poor and good. But by using true beam is better for dark and opaque. But for the clear target, it's good for retroreflective sensor. And multicolor. Multicolor maybe it's good for true beam sensor, and maybe and poor for retroreflective and diffuse respectively. This is a comparison chart to the detection, the repeatability, the environment resist, the installation cost, and versatility. Usually the visibility is best the medium for true beam and retroreflective. By using diffuse, it's very low the versatility. And next one, the sensor is a fiber optic sensor. Optic sensor, they use photoelectric sensor, consists of two parts, amplifier and sensing head. So they need to amplify the sensor. Usually it's very small, sometimes it's very small. So we need to amplify the contents, the emitter like source and receiver detector along their associated electronics component. The fiber optic cable is the means used to transfer the light to the sensing head. So they are using a fiber optic cable. Uh, the size depends on the application. And why we need to use fiber optics to allow for use of sensor in a small area, can be used in hazardous area, and its ability to detect a very tiny object 0.5 or 0.002 in diameter with the additional of a lens. Sometimes we need to use a lens, fiber optic combination with a lens, and then we can converge and to the specific target, and it also can be used in high and low temperatures. This is the concept of fiber optic. Fiber optics, they use a fiber optics detects from top to bottom, emitter and receiver. They use the fiber optics lines. So fiber optics can transmit zigzag direction from top, from end to end. So the signal transmitting zigzag as shown in the yellow color from both ends. For example, this one is start, this one is end. So light is transmitted down the cable by repeatedly reflecting the light off the boundary between the fiber core and the sheet until it reaches the end of the fiber where it is dispersed through specific lensing. And then this is fiber head. Fiber head consisting of three types of fiber head: true beam, diffuse, and retroreflective. However, for the we usually common by using a true beam and diffuse, and they operate on the same principle as the standard photoelectric sensor. The true beam sensor like this, and then when it detects this object, and then it will reflect the signal, the light, and consists of a single core that is protected by plastic shield. The plastic, and this is the standard fiber, and the concentrated fiber consisting of multi-core cable, multi-core cable of the fiber to conduct a light from one transmitter. So, and this is specialized photoelectric sensor, focal point sensor, spot sensor, color mark sensor, luster sensor, clear material sensor. For example, focal point sensor. Focal point sensor are a reflective style sensor that have a narrow beam width and are designed to detect object at the reflection point and nowhere else. They are used to detect object at a specific distance, the light source and receiver, except the strong beam of regular reflection, which enable the sensor to detect small and dark objects. This is focal point sensor. So from this sensing area, the emitter and receiver. Emitter transmit a light, and then the focal point sensor at the specific sensing area, so it will reflect to the receiver. Spot sensor. Spot sensor sometimes referred to as a convergent beam sensor. Converge the laser light. With the sensor, the light source is positioned perpendicular to the object, and the receiver is set at an acute angle to detect only diffuse light from the object. It avoids receiving directly reflected light. The sensor style detects difference in object surface conditions, small objects, or objects in a pinpoint. The emitter and receiver. This is still a sensing area. So that has a bigger sensing area. For example, this is the object, moving object, emitter and receiver. So when the emitter emit the light and then sense the object, so the receiver will receive the signal from the emitter. Another sensor is a color mark sensor. These sensors are designed to detect a mark or of carrying color contrast on the common surface. We can use this for detecting a different color. They have a similar like source and receiver arrangement as spot sensor, but they have increased sensitivity to changes in color. They can differentiate between these two colors. They can detect a color mark by contrast to non-mark area rather than by direct color measurement. The arrangement, the concept is same as spot, the previous sensor. So for example, the color mark sensor, they have a side indicator, three types of light sources, each give a different range of sense. They may use a green LED, red LED, or RGB combination, red, green, and blue LED. They may use for the largest selection of color. Luster sensor. And the type of sensor is unlike all the other sensors that detect the presence of an object, the luster sensor looks at the sheen, glossiness of an object. Clear material sensor. The detection of clear material sensor, such as plastic or film, could traditionally can be done using a polarized retroreflective sensor. This works, but may not always be reliable. So, this clear material sensor is introduced. A specialized sensor was created to allow for the detection of clear materials. Another part is the ultrasonic sensor. Ultrasonic sensor utilize high frequency sound energy. This ultrasonic using a sound energy above the audible range ultrasound to measure a distance or detect object. These devices transmit a burst of ultrasonic energy, then wait for a return echo. So they send a ultrasonic sounds energy, and then wait for the return echo. By precisely calculating the times distance can be determined. So they're waiting for the signal for the return echo. For example, the target should be perpendicular to the face of the sensor. Either they are shielded or unshielded. For example, this one is unshielded. So the object must be perpendicular to the sensor. And this is the role of the emitter. For example, the axis of the roll should be perpendicular to the face of the sensor. So it can be detect the roll of paper, for example. And in the fluid application should be stable or static, not turbulent. For the solid application must be dense enough to reflect sound energy. For example, in the tank must be designed, or the sensor must be select carefully to dense. For example, if the sensor, ultrasonic sensor is applied, put in the tank, so in such a way that the echo signal must be received from the sensor. And other common sensing technologies, reed sensor, more commonly referred as switches. Reed switches are commonly used on cylinder to indicate end of the stroke position. Reed sensor, for example, in the cylinder, electro-pneumatic cylinder, it has at the both end this design gives a very fast action for mechanical switches. And the physical construction, the reed sensor always mounted in a nitrogen filled gas tube, which may be enclosed in another housing for protection against breakage. And the contact arrangement is always single pole, single throw, or can be either NO and NC. What is NO and NC? NO is a normally open and normally closed for NC. Okay, this is the physical construction for the reed sensor. So reed sensor has a terminal, contact stop. So this is nitrogen filled glass tube inside. So it has a terminal in the both end. Another part is a magnetic sensor. Magnetic sensor, either they are using passive sensor or active sensor. Passive sensor such okay, this is a magnetic. For example, fine tooth gear. They completely save power. For the passive using passive save power, but this one using another power, VRS. The output of VRS produce an AC voltage signal. The signal varies in amplitude and wave shape as the speed of monitored device changes. Using for the metal gear, the other appropriate target are bolt head, keys, keyways, magnets, and holes in the metal disc. Usually, VRS, the permanent magnet, is the heart of the VRS sensor and establish a fixed magnetic field. So the output is generated by the changing strength of the field. We are using field caused by the approach and departure of ferrous metal target. And this is the architecture inside they use a magnet putting, and then for example, a magnet will transmit so when detect a gear, so the didn't detect the signal here. Magnetoresistive resistor. So this is the magnetoresistive sensor provide a square wave digital output driven by same type of alternating. So power supply in alternating wave, and the output from the switching circuit is in on and off in the square wave. Okay, magnetoresistive sensor device contain a highly sensitive bridge circuit. So this is the bridge circuit, consisting of a transistor. Signal out is sent from here. So this is transistor. So when the sensor detects the object, the output voltage at the back here, and the sensor is either they are supply positive. This one is common negative, common in negative and positive. Because this is a power device, there is virtually no low speed limitation with this style of sensor. Okay, that's all for today for the sensor. Thank you very much for your attention.